नमस्कार दोस्तों। तो आज की वीडियो में मैं आपको बताने जा रही हूँ 1857 revolt. So in today's video we will be going to see about the 1857 revolt and what happened in that revolt and who were the kings, how India got independence. About these all things we will be came to know today. Since the mid-18th century, Nawabs and Rajas had seen many powers erode. Means they were seeing that their powers were eroded. They had gradually lost their many of authorities and honor. Residents have been stationed in many courts. The freedom of the rulers reduced. Their armed forces disbanded and their revenues and the territories taken away by stages. This was that time about in the 1857. So, what does resident mean? It's a group of people like who works as a detective in the king's or Raja or Nawab's court who gives the informations to the Britishers. Many ruling families tried to negotiate with the company to protect their interest. For example, Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi wanted the company to recognize her adopted son Damodar Rao to be a king, but the company rejected it as many of them, like Rani Lakshmi Bai, had lost their husband and her husband died. So he was not having her real son, but she was having an adopted son, and she wants that the adopted son should be the king of Jhansi. But the Britishers didn't accept this. For example, Nana Saheb, adopted son of whom? Peshwa Bajirao II. Nana Sahib was adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II. Pleaded that he be given his father's pension when the later died. But the Britishers rejected and said they will not accept that thing. And now, however, the company, confident of its superiority and military powers, turned down these pleas. Awadh was one of the last territory to be annexed. In 1801, a subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh, and in 1856 it was taken over. Governor General Dalhousie declared that the territory was being misgoverned and British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. The company ever began to plan how to bring the Mughal dynasty to the end. The name of the Mughal king was removed from the coins minted by the company. In 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Jafar, the family of the king would not get the rule and would be shifted in the Red Fort and given another place in Delhi to reside in. In 1856, Governor General Cannon decided that Bahadur Shah Jafar would be the last Mughal king, and after his death, none of its descendants would be recognized as king. They would just be called princes. Means they will be called prince, not the kings. Now, in the countryside, peasants and zamindars they were affording the high taxes and the rigid methods of revenue collection. Many failed to pay back their loans to the Britishers or moneylenders, and gradually they were shifted to a life cycle in which they would not be able to pay the money of Britishers and what the money take from money lenders. They were had no choices to pay tax, and they were still in a cycle of money. They were unhappy about their pay, allowances, and the condition of service. There was bad condition, and so when in 1824 the sepoys were told to go to Burma by the sea route, but to fight from the company they refused that. They fighted from the company and refused to go there. Why? Because it will change their religion and it will not be good for them and for their religion. As to go by sea route, like it is known as in Hindi, Sat Samundar Par, they cannot go and their religions will be changed. Sepoys also reacted to what was happening in the countryside. Many of them were peasants and had family living in the villages. So the anger of peasants quickly spread into the sepoys, and now the anger will be in the farmers also and the sepoys also. And there were very bad conditions of that time. The Britishers believed that Indian society has to be reformed. Means there's no good laws, there's no good rule on them, and they have to control them. In 1830, the company allotted Christian missionaries they gave the permission to them to make the changes, to say the peoples for the changing of religion from Hindu to Christian, Muslim to Christian, and the other more. This was that time's reality. Means no one were happy with the Britishers and all were in the dark and very blue India. Likewise, there were many dynasties who come to the India. Likewise, the last dynasty Britishers came to trade with us. But now what they are doing? They are giving us poison and also destroying our India, means whole Hindustan. Now, the time was that after many time of rule of Britishers, the sepoys and farmers were very angry with them, and now that's war time. Through struggles between rulers and the rules are not usuals, sometimes such struggles become quite widespread as popular resistance so that the power of the state breaks down. A very large number of peoples begin to believe that they have a common enemy. Means in Dushman ka Dushman is equal to our friend. So the peoples and the kings mixed it up, and the Bahadur Shah Jafar wrote a letter to all the kings. What they did? They all mixed up and said, it's wartime for Britishers. Now, the Britishers were in that condition about that the planning was about to do in that manner that we will destroy the Britishers and they have to go from our country. Such a situation developed in the northern parts of the India in 1857. After 100 years of conquest and administration, the East India Company faced a massive uprising that started in May 1857 and threatened the company very presence in India Sepoys were very angry about the Britishers and they were like that. The beginning of the revolt started from the Meerut. The main part was started from the Meerut, and all were angry and all just want what? All just want that. They want an independence. As we know, on 8 April 1857, the Rajguru Sukhdev and Mangal Pandey were hanged up. And in the Barakpur, some days later, some sepoys, the regiments at Meerut refused to do army drill using the new cartridges which were made with the fat of cows and pigs. No one were happy in their wartime. Now all the kings and all of them, they wanted that they will not use the cow and pigs made cartridges. And the response of the other Indian soldiers and Meerut was quite extraordinary. On 10th May, the soldiers marched to the jail in Meerut and released the imprisoned sepoys. What happened on 9 April? The 85 sepoys of the part of in which the group in which Mangal Pandey was given the punishment, and then the parade with necked themselves. So now this was about doing in our India, and our Indias were like that, all around the fire and the fire. So now all was like that. They will destroy the Britishers. And they said also that we will destroy the Firangis, foreigners, termed as Firangis. And now the Bahadur Shah Jafar was the leader. All the sepoys marched to the Delhi to Bahadur Shah Jafar and said that he will be the ruler. But why were the reason that why we didn't got the independence? There were many of the reasons for that we don't have more weapons, and the areas which we were warned, were under the civil soldiers. The areas like Meerut, Kanpur, Lucknow, these areas was like that. They all from their Britishers were end. Now all the most important soldiers and soldiers marched to Delhi, because if they will warn Delhi, so they will rule whole India. So after that the Britishers came. They gone and warned Lucknow, Meerut and Delhi. Lucknow, Meerut, Kanpur, and they all marched to the one place in Delhi. Sometimes it was also during the time of Chapati movement. We don't know that why this movement was started, but we still know that this movement was started for something reason, but our soldiers can't take its benefits. Also, there were many leaders like Begum Hazrat Mahal and Jhansi ki Rani Lakshmi Bai, Tantia Tope, Nana Saheb, and they all like Mangal Pandey, Sukhdev, Bhagat Singh, Gandhi ji and Subhash Chandra Bose. They were the main leaders of India who recognized that we will be in India and there will be no Britishers in the India. They all were like that. They want the Britishers were likely to be said that the India will destroy us, and they gave one thought कि हालात ऐसे हो गए हैं कि पता नहीं हमें कब भारत छोड़ के जाना पड़ सके. That was, but now the Britishers come back. There is again the entry. What were the main reasons so that we cannot got independence before 100 years? Reason number 1, Chapati movement. Reason number 2, not more weapons. Reason number 3, the areas that we want were under what? Were under the civil soldiers and not good security, and more reasons like that also. So friends, if you like my video, so like, share, subscribe, and thank you.